Vortex, I need to write down on a whiteboard all of the things that I should talk about before I forget. But then I forget to do that. So, you're stuck with this, you know. I got really emotional in church today. That usually happens every time that I go to church. Because, it's supposed to be emotional. Church is supposed to be a place where people come together to worship God. And when you realize the reality of that, it's so breathtaking. And I know this sounds really cheesy, forgive me for that. But it's like the fact that I'm part of something like that, and that like I was just looking around me and everybody in the church like knows the hymns, and we were all there for the same reason. And it's just such a moving experience. And you know, somebody, I guess they got offended by the fact that I'm religious because they didn't expect me to be. They didn't expect me to be religious because I bitch about sheep all the time. Now, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, Paisley wants to be part of this video. You're just gonna have to let her. Okay? But, you better not whack me with your tail. I know you want to, though. I know you want to. But, I used to have a real problem with organized religion. And I mean, I still do. It's still really weird to me to be Orthodox. But I really got something out of the church. Okay. You're gonna whack me with your tail whether I request that you don't do that. It's fine. It's fine. I just have to accept that. Anyway. I get the full spectrum, or what feels like the full spectrum of Christianity, like when I go to, you know, really any church service, but specifically Divine Liturgy. I never really understood what that was like. Fuck you! She's being affectionate right now, too. But, you know, I've been to a bunch of churches. And, you know, I'd be the first to bitch about the hypocrisy of so many Christians. And I don't like the way that they treat people that they disagree with, or people whose lifestyles they don't approve of. Now, I'm not even remotely suggesting that we go the Protestant route and just accept different types of degeneracy under the guise of God's love, okay? I don't suggest that at all. But I think that there's a way to approach it that's not hateful and more motivating in relation to God's love rather than the fear of God. Like, if you do this, you're going to burn in hell. You know, I really wish that people would get away from this tactic because I don't think that it works. And if it works at all, it's not going to be a long-lasting tactic. And the kinds of people that are going to get roped in to that particular religion are not going to be very good, you know? I mean, homophobia is fucking stupid. And the reason why homophobia is stupid is because Godphobia is the only one that makes any sense. You should not be afraid of anything or anyone but God. And so I understand that there's a lot of leeway that homosexuals and, you know, well, really anybody identifying as a member of, like, the LGBT freak show, I realize that there's a lot of leeway that they have that they didn't have before. That is problematic, especially in regards to the youth. You know, they're really pushing this stuff on children. And so, you know, it's definitely an issue. But I think that, you know, Americans and Westernites in general have the tendency to, like, react to things. And so, you know, they see something that they think is troublesome and, you know, they can't help themselves. They have to bitch about it. And, you know, they're usually, like, basing their retaliation in emotion, you know, like, they're upset by what's happening and they're being really hateful towards groups of people that they think are, you know, destroying everything. And I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like, emotional maturity goes a long way. It really does. I guess I have a way different experience because, like, I do comedy and I work in restaurants, so, you know, I'm always surrounded by people that I don't agree with, and so I have the luxury of being able to, you know, navigate things that a lot of people on social media don't know how to navigate anymore. You know, maybe they did. Maybe they used to be able to do that, but now they don't because the internet has infantilized them to the point of no return. And so I guarantee if all these internet junkies took a break from the internet and they just, like, spent time in the real world, whatever the fuck that means, but they actually, like, interacted with real people, not just people online, they would realize that a lot of this stuff is being exaggerated for the purpose of, like, stirring up drama, okay? So, a lot of the stuff that seems like it's new and different is not new and different. It's been happening for a long ass time. It's just front and center now, so it's being magnified, and anything you focus on gets bigger, remember that. So, since the algorithm knows you better than you know yourself, it's going to see that you're concerned with certain matters, and it's going to push those matters in your face. And so you think that's all there is, you know? And that's the really dangerous thing about it. But I know that I was, like, hardcore into my conspiratorial thinking, and I started going to church, and that definitely took a back seat. And, I mean, my parents have noticed it. My parents are not religious at all. Like, my parents might as well be secular, and they noticed that about me, and that I had been transformed in a lot of different ways, and that I wasn't obsessing about things that I couldn't control anymore, you know, like their inoculation status, you know, like, I wasn't freaking out about things the way that I was before I started going to church. So I know that it's definitely had a dramatic impact on me, but I'm also the type of person that, like, learns from my experience and really, like, soaks up every experience that I have. So, you know, I'm really lucky in that regard. But, you know, my experience means a lot to me. And I think that if people valued that more, we'd be in a way better state.